Welcome to In Season Nevada. Today we are going to be processing some geese. You can store them in the freezer or a cooler until you're ready to process. You're going to take a few days to thaw if you freeze them first. I recommend getting a pot of beans started. It's going to be the way to go. And for plucking your birds, you're going to be filling a stock pot filled about 3/4 to 2/3 of the way full of water and bring that to a boil. Once it's boiling, take the lid off. Make sure somebody's got the door for you. Actually, we're going to be walking with the lid on. Make sure somebody's got the door for you because it's wintertime. We don't want to let that heat out. And you're going to want to do this on the ground. Don't mind our tomatillo plants growing right there. That's what's producing all the green chili for the chili verde. You lift at the head because that's not the hardest part to pluck. Really, you want to make sure those back feathers and those breast feathers get submerged for at minimum 30 seconds, but ideally about 60 seconds. And so you're just going to count that off. All right. And then when that's done, you're going to let the excess water drain off for a second. And we're going to get ready to pluck. So you want to start low on the bird. And your goal is to kind of use your forefingers to just kind of anchor. You're going to feel that breastbone. And you're just going to kind of slide and pinch and slide up. At first, it's going to look like you're not making a lot of progress. But then all of a sudden, once you get a row going, you'll be able to start there and just move sideways, kind of diagonally. I probably could have left them in there a little bit longer. So you probably want to do it at minimum 30 seconds with scalding hot water. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow these feathers to come off a lot easier. And what's nice about the wet feathers is they won't be floating everywhere. So you'll be able to throw them in the trash can. They'll actually stay in the trash can. And you can dry out these feathers and sort them if you really want to. I don't save the down feathers personally, but you can make pillows from them or do different things with the down feathers if you want to separate the down from the flight feathers.
If we wanted to do that, how would you do that? Like, which is which?
The down feathers are those tiny little fluffy feathers,
Oh, yeah.
and the bigger feathers are what's in between my fingertips right now. So you just separate those. I mean, you could separate them by hand. I don't really know how to process them. I'm not a feather processor.
A lot more work to do that.
Yeah. Helps to switch hands because your thumb's doing most of the work in this. You're kind of pushing your thumb along the skin.
Oh, babe, it's trash day. Yeah.
So when you get around the bullet hole, especially you can see there's two pellets kind of right next to each other. You won't be able to just push the feathers off the skin. You kind of actually have to just grab the feathers and pluck them straight out. Otherwise the feathers just aren't going to come out because those holes kind of weaken the integrity of the skin. So it just won't work. So you just kind of have to pluck these manually. Then once you get past it, you can kind of start doing the push method again.
What do you plan to do with these birds?
we are going to do goose sausage and chili verde. And the reason for that is they're both cooking techniques that allow you to cook in very large batches. So if you got multiple geese, it's really easy to make kind of bulk meals out of both of those things. And then the other thing we're going to do is we have a snow goose, and we're going to try to make some pastrami with that, with that, with that snow goose breast. So, yeah.
All right, so with this method, we're not going to be harvesting the skin. The only difference is we are going to be obviously saving the skin on the other version. And so you're going to be doing the exact same peeling method. And then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting that skin in a crock pot to harvest the fat off the skin. The skin is edible, but it's not particularly palatable, if that makes sense. So you could eat it in a pinch if you really wanted to. It's just not that appetizing. So what we're going to be doing here is we make a small incision with the knife at the base of the bird, and then we just peel the skin up and then along the back. And I find that to be the most efficient way to expose the vast majority of the meat here. And then every single piece from this point is just simply taking each individual piece of skin off the bird, and then that way the skin is taking the feathers with it, and this is a much faster method. I'd highly recommend that you pluck at least one goose and then also try this method and compare, the results back to back on how much fat you harvest. You can harvest the fat around the kidneys. That's a pretty significant source of fat. And so what I notice is by plucking the birds, I essentially double or triple the amount of goose fat that I can harvest. If you're not particularly trying to harvest goose fat, this is definitely the better and faster method. Obviously, I've sped up the video just for the sake of brevity here, but you can kind of get a gist of the process here. I mean, it's significantly easier than plucking a bird. It took me probably about 15 minutes to pluck that goose, versus it's probably going to only take me about 10 minutes to get this goose completely harvested, even including the knife work. So at this point, we've got the vast majority of the feathers off. We're taking the breasts off, turning that into goose sausage. And then the rest of the bird, we're going to be essentially boiling it. You could braise it, but I just think boiling it is going to be easier for the person who's not a really significantly advanced home cook. This part's hard to see. I'm cutting off the feet right here. I apologize for the bad angle of the video. I'm videoing alone in this section, and so it's a little bit harder to capture everything that I'm doing. But I'm cutting the feet off because the skin around the feet's a little tougher. Broke the neck, cut the head off. You want to leave the vast majority of the neck attached because that neck meat is good. Save the neck for me, Clark, right? Cut open the base and take out the gizzard and the liver and separate out the liver. And then we're just simply cutting a lump of meat off the gizzard, and the rest of it, I don't worry about cleaning out. I just throw that in the trash pile. Take out all the guts you don't want, throw that in the trash. Now I'm reaching in and digging in for the heart. And I separate all that organ meat out separately on each bird. Here, I'm just cutting the throat, so it makes it a little bit easier to get every single little piece of guts out. I'm rinsing off the bird. I know, I'm sorry, you can't see me rinsing off the bird, but that's what I'm doing here. You want to do the vast majority of your cleaning out here. And then I rinse off my table in between birds. And at this point, your goose is mostly processed, and we're going to get into the cooking stages next. So we're going to use that same crock pot for cooking. So make sure you clean out your crock pot from the feathering stage to the actual boiling stage, which we're going to turn this into some stew meat here. So follow for part 2.